I'm the Headless Headhunter. I'm a corporate recruiter here to get you ahead of your job search by reviewing your resumes and giving you job search tips and tricks. The resume we have up first is a full-stack software developer. This person, let me check my notes again, they have a ratio of 150 to 1, which is terrible. That means it takes them about 150 applications to get to a single interview, which is really not good. You want to aim at a minimum of 1 in 50, which is still not great, but it's better than 1 in 150. So what we're going to be looking for in a full-stack software developer is TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, which, spoiler alert, that's not what I found in the resume, which is why this person failed the meet or yeet and got their resume yeeted. And we need Node, Angular, Next.js, such as MongoDB, SQL, React.js, API REST, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functionally, and bonus points for architecture, extra language, and Git. So the problem with this resume was this right here. This was the biggest problem with this resume. Unless you are... There are only 3 reasons you would ever want a summary. If you are changing industries, and we are talking like going from a plumber to a aircraft mechanic, right? Or a aircraft mechanic to a software engineer. So that level of depth, difference if you're changing industries. If you have a visa that you need to explain how it works to people, or you are planning on relocating. Those are the only 3 reasons I think a person should have a summary. Because this does not count. I need these. This is correct of JavaScript, Python, Java, and Cloud, but it does not count if it's in a summary. They have to be under a job or an internship or a project, and you have to show me how you used it and the reason or result you used it. If you do not show me the how or the reason or result, and it's under a job, if it's not those, it does not count, which is why skills sections are worthless. And this is why you need to not have a skills section, is at best, it already reiterates information that I need to have here, and at worst, it actively hurts your chances and takes away time I have while reviewing your resume. So skills sections are worthless for IC resumes. Director level resumes are an entirely different beast, and they can kind of get away with it, along with people that are specifically only freelance, but most of the people that send those are not those, so I don't talk about that. So this entire section is a waste and is actively hurting them. In addition, their education needs to be up at the top, which at the bottom, it looks like they've got a master's, but no one would get that far down. So they have a master's in computer engineering and a bachelor's in information technology, which is the equivalent. You do not need to put your bachelor's if it is the same as your master's. So just put your master's and that you graduated in May 2023, or just status graduated. Both of those is fine. You don't necessarily need to say how long you were there. And then that should be at the very top here. Nothing here should be bolded. Please, 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 please stop making your resume this difficult to read. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. I want your resume to look like this, okay? This is what the finished product should look like. Should look like this. I'm aware this is for a cashier, but this is still how you should make your resume look like. Even if you're a software engineer, if you're a mechanic, if you're a manager even, unless you're a very high-level director, your resume should look like this. I don't care if this is a cashier resume. It works the same, all right? So in this case, you need to make it look like this. So, and how to do that on my site, this is what the template for it. So the formatting's off. This should be one line, and then my biggest problem was I did not find TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Again, I found it here, but this does not count. Nothing in this section counts. I want to drill that into everybody's head. Nothing in the skills section counts. Some recruiters will send you based on this, but the manager themselves will reject you based on it. So do not have a skills section. You do not need it. Do not have a summary section. You do not need it. Replace this with your education, which in this person's case can be a single line that just says Masters of Computer, whatever, graduated or status graduated. So, I mean, Node.js is good. API is good. MongoDB is good. I don't care about the 20%. You already mentioned MongoDB here. You don't want to mention the same skill in the same job. So it's okay to mention MongoDB here, but don't mention it here and here, because your space is at a premium, which, if you can tell, most of this is taken up by percentages. And percentages are, you want to use them very, very little. I really think you should only have 1% per job, and too many numbers, right? What I really am looking for is use TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML in an AWS environment or something like that. That's it. That's all I'm really looking for. But this is a junk sentence and it doesn't matter. The rest of this is okay because it goes from the MongoDB. This, again, doesn't matter, can be deleted. Reusable. React is good. I would be looking for React. But again, the rest of this is kind of incomprehensible. Unified access for 300 by Adobe Handshake. Nothing here is needed. So you really only have Node, Mongo, and where did it go? React. Is there anything else? Yeah. So you have 5, 6 sentences and only 3 keywords, when you should have 3 keywords in the first sentence. And those keywords should be TypeScript, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So Refractor, Django. Again, I'm not really looking for Django. If this was a Python role, I would probably be looking more for Django. And again, it's okay to have, but you shouldn't order it at the top, right? This is the stuff I want at the very top. This stuff can be in bonus little sentences afterwards. So I already said API, but that's okay. AWS is good, but they're probably not going to get down here. In my meter yeet, I didn't even get down this far. So your biggest problem is a lot. It's formatting and it's content. Do you need to redo this entire resume from scratch? Probably do. I think you should. In addition, I'm going to make an assumption that may be incorrect, is that you are a visa candidate or you are looking or an international student. And as an international student, you have a much lower chance of getting a job in general. So a 1 in 50 would be normally absolutely horrendous. But if you're a 1 in 50 for an international student is like a C- sometimes. No, it's still a fail, but it's not as bad as a fail. Like, this resume needs to be a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 15 to get, as a visa candidate, about a 1 in 40 interview rate. So you need to redo all of this. You need to use my resume format because this is hard to read. And you just need better sentences. This is the stuff I'm looking for in full stack. If you're applying in the US, which it looks like you are. I'm not looking for unified access for 30K students by integrating Adobe Handshake and VMock via Okta. I don't know what that is, and it's not helpful. So focus on this. This is why you don't want to not focus your resumes. If you don't focus your resume, it's going to be chaotic and they're not going to move you forward. So that's all I can do for this resume. Hit the bell, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And I would like to know your experiences in looking for a job. This is how I keep, in the comments below, please tell me what it's like looking for a job right now. I know it's awful, but the more I can hear from you all, the more I can adjust my knowledge, and I want to make sure I'm still accurate. So if you need more help, you can always stop by my Twitch chat at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST, and let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a manufacturing engineer. They said they are a recent grad who graduated in May, been looking ever since, which it's actually not terrible, unless you meant May of last year, but 2 months is not very long. I don't want to minimize your struggle, but that's actually not as bad as you think it is. You've had 3 interviews before graduation. Good. One company I interviewed with placed very high. You've been reading online that companies are actively looking to replace entry-level positions with AI or overachievers, and you're very scared and mad at how new grads are being messed over when we paid $100K to get an education and a job. I want to change for the better. So there's a lot there, and first off, the market sucks. All right, it's very bad. I don't know if this is going to make you feel better or worse, but this is not just the market replacing people. Offshoring is more likely to take your job than AI unless you are in graphic design. Graphic design has been hit very heavily, but offshoring is worse. But even a decade ago when I first started recruiting, it was always a nightmare to get your first job. Getting your foot in the door in almost any single industry is going to be the hardest job search of your life. I want to let you know that. I don't know of a single industry that is easy for fresh grads to join, except maybe actuaries, and even then I don't think I'm correct in that statement. It has always been a struggle to get your first job. That is always going to be the hardest job search of your life. So let me review this, but you have a 1 in 75 ratio, which for a new grad is not terrible. It's not great, but a 1 in 75 for a new grad isn't bad. That's like a C minus, right? Like a 1 in 50 for somebody with 2 years of experience would be a C minus, but 1 in 75, which is your ratio, is not terrible. So what we're looking for a manufacturing engineer is your degree in industry. So industry is going to be a little bit different because like I need to know, like, are you working on aerospace? And then in aerospace, are you working with engines? That kind of stuff. PFMEAs, PLC, any type of CAD software, AutoCAD, ISO, Pro E, GMP, interpret technical drawings and specifications, Vision, Microsoft Office, such as Excel and PowerPoint, and MS Project and cross-functional. So, yeah, this can be deleted. University of Twitch streamer. I also graduated from that. So this should be one line. Your formatting is off, so I want you to do your formatting like this, okay? Remember, your resume should look like this. I know this is for a cashier. Your resume should still look like it. There's a lot of things like, oh, you need a very specific resume for a specific thing, and no, like 90% of people are best served by just having your resume like this. So, and this is my last name, so I can say that. So your format is off. Also, your coursework doesn't matter. I mean, you would put that under projects. You wouldn't put it under here. Skill sections, again, don't matter. Certs. Cert you can put under education and put it under another line. But this is already a problem I have is this is not needed and hurting you. This is not needed and hurting you. This is not needed and hurting you. Depending on how close this is either helpful or hurtful. So then you go to experience. So nothing here should be bolded. Led the fabrication of an automated plasma tube cutter. Plasma, okay. Car chases. This is actually a solid first sentence. I would prefer a little bit of keywords in it, but it's not terrible because you did show me what you're doing. It was a plasma tube for a car chassis. Created 3 cams, don't care about this, but I do care that it was wheel blocks. This doesn't matter. Plasma cutter maybe, but you already mentioned it up here. ISO is good. This one's actually good because ISO can be it. I did not list all the ISOs because there's a billion of them, but this ISO is good. Research PLC and stepper motor. Yeah, the PLC is good. So yeah, here's my problem. This is not terrible. Your formatting is awful. And all of this and this and your formatting is taking away from these are some okay bullet points. I would like more of this stuff in it, but these are not terrible. You need to fix your formatting, and then after you fix your formatting, you need to change some of your bullet points, right? I want this stuff. If it's not this stuff, it's not really relevant. Again, the industry is going to change, so I cannot put all the keywords for the industry, but if it's not here, it doesn't matter. Like, why would I care that you procured stock metal orders? That's not what I'm looking for. We've already got Bob to do that. He's in procurement. Bob does that. You're going to get all the stock metal orders you want. What I do care, though, is that you have PLC, and I want to know a little bit how you used it, too. I don't see that you've interpreted technical drawings and specifications. I don't see that you've Vision, Microsoft Office, Excel, PowerPoint, and MS Project. And I don't see any CAD, which is very, very, very bad. Again, does not count if it's here. I want everybody to learn that. Skill sections are irrelevant. And electric vehicle is good. So yeah, your resume is actually not the worst, especially for this type of role, but your formatting is so awful and your bullet points are so lacking that they're not finding anything. Make no mistake, the job market is terrible, but if you make those changes, you should be getting to like a 1 in 25, I would say. So that is what you need to do. Although I imagine the jobs in Antarctica aren't that much. Is that really what the thing for Antarctica is AN? I don't know that. That's kind of funny. But yeah, you're missing like these. You only have 50% of them, and your formatting's terrible. So add the rest of these keywords, redo a couple of your bullet points, and fix your formatting, and you're going to have a much better time. And I do want to let you know, 2 months in your job search is not a ton of time. It's entirely probable that by the time this video comes out, since you submitted it, you could have gotten a job. Like, I don't think this is the worst resume ever. You have some of the stuff I see that I need. You just need more of it, and you're formatting so hard that not everybody can find it. But this is going to be your hardest job search of your life, right? Like, even in a good economy, which we are not in, it's always tough to get your first job. It's always an absolute nightmare. That is your hardest job search. And it's not fair. It's not just, but I don't know how to fix that besides helping people how to get jobs. So that's all I can do for this resume. Please make those changes so you can get work. I want you to start your career. And let's go to the next resume. This is, I have no idea. So they stated they wanted a full stack engineer job. But then in the thing that they said, like the little notes people leave me, they were previously a front-end developer, and then the first line of their resume states Java developer. So I don't know what they're looking for, because those are 3 entirely separate resumes. And this is the correct resume. I did not get the resume wrong. So I'm going to view this as a Java developer, I guess. But that's already your first problem. And this person stated that they have a 600-to-1 ratio. That is awful. So, oh my goodness. Okay. They are also a boot camp grad, so that's why I'm not saying to put their education up at the top. In that case, they are correct. You do leave the boot camp at the bottom because it is experience, but it's less valuable than a CS degree. So, all right, let's see. You say Java software engineer, and then you say front end. These are different resumes. Okay, so I don't know how to review this because I don't know what I'm looking at, which is probably your problem. This is 3 separate resumes you Frankensteined into one beast. And if you're looking for a front end and a back end and a full stack position, those are all different. I'm aware front end and back end is full stack. Okay, I do know that, but you can't have the same resume because what they're going to be looking for is completely different. So for Java engineer, we're going to be looking for Java, Spring Boot, SQL, RESTful API, microservices, OOP, Git, other APIs, cloud architecting, and then maybe a singular sentence that has like Kafka, a full stack, Agile, CI/CD, and Hibernate. So that is what I'm looking for in a back-end Java engineer. For full stack, it'll be like what we were looking for in the first one. For front end, it's an entirely separate keyword list. So your biggest, I haven't even read anything, and I already know, and I'm going to see if I'm right. Your problem is you tried to Frankenstein 3 separate roles into one, and that is probably your problem. So this doesn't count. Your formatting is also awful. Please use this formatting. You want it to look like this. The fact that it's boring and basic is the point. The resume that stands out is the resume that gets rejected. So I'm not going to harp on formatting because it's all awful, except for stop bolding everything. Please stop bolding everything. All right, so engineered in a expansive suite of React components. Okay, so all I have is React. And again, like, here's my problem, right? This is why this is not good. If you're looking for a back-end Java engineer, they're not going to care about React. If you're looking for a full stack, they're going to want a single sentence of your back-end stuff, such as Java and maybe Spring and Spring Boot, but the rest of it is going to be different. If you're doing front-end, they want React, but again, the rest of it's going to be different. Yeah, there's nothing here. Nothing here except for UI, which again is a bonus in full stack even. So even in front end, UI is a bonus keyword, not the one I'm actually looking for. Yeah, there's nothing here. You have all of this just to say React. So immediately, if they're looking for a Java engineer, they're not going to see what they need. If they're looking for a front-end engineer, they may see React and UI, but that's it. There's nothing else. And then full stack, again, there's nothing here. Where are these? You can ask me. I can give you all three. I have the keywords for all three of them, but I'm not seeing the keywords for any of them. So I was wrong. This was not a Frankenstein monstrosity of a resume that was 3 separate roles. This has nothing I'm looking for any of the roles. That's why you have a 600 to 1. You tell me nothing. Look, they have a small technical skill section at the very bottom. Skill sections do not count. Has to be here. Cannot be here. Has to be here. So this is why you have the 600 to 1, is you give me nothing. And I don't, like I said, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to like break you down. Haha, look at this fool. No, this is the stuff I'm looking for. This is for back-end Java. Full stack, you can look at the very the very first resume of this one to see the full stack keywords. And this is going to be the front end stuff. JavaScript, React, Angular, JS, HTML, CSS, PHP, SQL. I don't see any of this except for React. And again, UI UX is a bonus. It is not needed. And if you just have the bonus, it's just like having a 0 on the test, but you get extra credit. You get 5% out of 100, and that's it. So you have no keywords at all in your resume, and that is your problem. So first, pick a stack. Full stack or front end or back end. Then create your resume with those keywords in mind. Because this has nothing. I have found nothing I wanted besides React and UI for maybe Jest. No, that's it. That's all I found. You have nothing here that I would be looking for. And that's why you have a 600 to 1, is this tells me nothing. These are the key to getting a job, all right? These are, recruiters do not call these keywords, all right? I want to be very clear. I know this was a very long resume, but we call them the qualifications. So by not having the qualifications, you don't show you are qualified. These are the minimum qualifications to get a job. And I'm debating just calling them that instead of keywords, because keywords make sense to people not in recruitment. But by not having these, you are showing that you do not meet the minimum requirements and thus get rejected. So that is your problem. You need the keywords, and then you need to pick a stack just so you don't make a Frankenstein resume, which that's not even the problem. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume, again, of a data engineer. This person said data engineer / software engineer. Those are 2 separate roles. In fact, those could be like 8 separate roles, depending on what kind. So those are completely separate. This person has had no luck. They said they're over 150. They did not tell me how much. So these are actually some of the, besides that, in the person trying to get their first job, I think resume number 2, these are some of the worst ratios I've seen in a very long time. Not like ever, but just back to back to back. So they want to know how to improve the resume. So first off, if you're looking for a data engineer position, you need Python, ETL, data pipeline, Scala, data algorithms, SDLC, SQL, big data such as Spark, cloud, warehousing, and the ability to manage and communicate data warehouse plans to a non-technical person. Sorry, acid reflux was kicking in. So those are what we need. But if you're looking for a software engineer, well, first off, what stack? And if you end up picking backend, is it Python, C, or Java? So you need to focus your resume. Even if in the job they make you become a jack of all trades, you still rarely are hired based on those things. So, which is actually like my specialty in recruitment. Like when I would put in my resume, I would not do a jack of all trades resume. I would make it focused on what they were looking for, even if I always ended up becoming the person that fills any role. So these are what I'm looking for. So first off, summary, don't care, can be deleted. Again, technical skill sections could be deleted. So your education should be up at the top. The reason the last one wasn't was because it was a coding camp. While you graduated with a CS degree, that should be up at the top. It's at the very bottom, which no one can see. It's after this project section. And you need to just say when you graduated or status graduated. I do not need to know how long you were there, right? Like, that's not information I need. If you were there for 20 years, cool, not my business. I just need to know that you got the degree. That's it. All right, like, I personally took too long in college. So, built backend systems matching over, there's nothing here. Okay, Python scripts and API for backend Python, I would want this. Nothing here. Yeah, you have nothing. This resume has nothing. So I don't know what to say that I hadn't in the last resume, is you basically have nothing here. These are too many. And again, the data engineering stuff is kind of accurate. Half of these are correct. But this, yeah, these need to be wrapped up into here. If this is not here, it might as well not be on your resume. And the only thing I'm seeing is Python and Python. So the only thing I'm thinking for data engineer is Python. For the rest of the stuff for software engineering, I am seeing API and Java and Agile. Agile could be used for data engineers too. And that's it. So you don't have anything. You basically, everything I said in the last review is accurate here. You need to A, pick a stack. B, don't pick a stack if you're doing a data engineer. And C, you need these ones. Like, this doesn't have anything I need. Remember, this doesn't count. Does not count. Cannot be here. No, 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 no. Cannot be there. It needs to be here or it doesn't count. So you need to put your education up at the top. You need to fix the formatting. Sorry, you need to burn the resume and start again, because your resume should look like this. And I want your education right up here. And let's see, I know nobody can see this. Yep, again, you have a CS degree for a bachelor's and a master's. You can just put the master's. If you have a master's in the same degree, or a PhD in the same degree as the less intensive ones, you can just put the most impressive one. The reason you would not do it is if, say, you had a bachelor's in business administration and a master's in computer science, then you would leave both. But if you've already got a master's in computer science, you don't need to put that you have a bachelor's in computer science. So, and again, it should still be up at the top. So there's nothing I can really say here because there's nothing here. Remember, these are the minimum qualifications. If I do not find these minimum qualifications, you are not moving forward. And they have to be shown how you did them and the reason or result you did them. And you did not do that, so I would have to reject you. If I sent this resume to a hiring manager, they would destroy me, right? Because this is not the minimum qualifications. It's written here as how you do it. So that's all I can really do for this. You want to take the exact same advice I gave for the previous resume, and let's go to the next resume. This is another full stack software engineer. This person immigrated to the US last year with their family from South Korea. Since then, they've been freelancing remotely. While they've had some work from Korea, they don't have any professional experience in the US. Last year, I applied to over 200 jobs, but didn't receive any interview offers. Recently rewrote a resume, which I've attached. Appreciate it if you could review it. So, first things first, I'm not asking what your status is, but I want to make sure you are aware you need to have a valid work visa to work in the U.S. Now, this may be the case that you do or do not. I do not know. I'm just telling you that if you do not have a work visa to work in the U.S., you are not able to, well, work in the U.S. So I don't know what one you have, and I do know that whenever you have a visa, it's more difficult, but this is one of the few times you would, in fact, show how you can work. So under this, instead of U.S. citizen, you would just put your location, and where you would do is just a small summary is, as I am on an X visa, I can work for anybody without sponsorship for the next X years or whatever. So, or not. Maybe you're a green card holder or a U.S. citizen. I do not know. I'm just saying that I don't know, and that might be one of the reasons. So, second, as a full stack, which I don't know if I need to repeat again, but just in case, you need TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node, Angular, Next.js, MongoDB, SQL, React.js, API, REST, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functionally, and bonus points for architecture, extra language, and Git. So, those are what I'm be looking for. Now, this does not matter. Again, skill sections do not count. Make sure your entire resume is black and white, with the exception of your contact information, which can be blue. This is the only amount of blue I want to see on your resume. Everything else, black and white. And this does not matter. Again, 60% versus 40%. I don't need to know that. So yeah, this can safely be deleted. Second, where is your education? Okay, this... I don't know if that's equivalent to an American CS degree. If it is, you should put it up top and explain that. If it's not, you are correct in that you should leave it at the bottom. I don't know what that equivalency is. So, formatting is so awful in this. Implemented a real-time server-side pipeline, webhooks, React. React is good. Rest of this I don't care. Redis. Do I care about Redis? No, I do not. Nothing. React, again, but you already stated React. Express.js. Not really something I'm looking for. Electron Nest. No. Okay, here. AWS, I would be looking for in CI/CD pipelines. So, and Git. You have, again, nothing. Remember, these are the minimum qualifications. If you do not show me your minimum qualifications here, not here, nothing in this section counts. That's why you should not have a, skills section. It needs to be here. Has to be here. If it's not, doesn't count. And the only things I found here are AWS and CI/CD, which is great, but nobody is going to go down that far. That's almost at the very bottom of the page. And then there's nothing here either. You have only like AWS, React, and CI/CD pipelines. So 2 things I'm looking for and 1 bonus thing, and that is not 75% of the minimum qualifications. You need about 75% of the minimum qualifications for me to move you forward, and you do not have that. You have, I don't know, I'm not good at math, like 30% or less. So these are what you need. These are the minimum qualifications. I'm going to start calling them from that now instead of keywords for people. If you do not show you have them under a job, a project, or an internship, again, skill sections do not count. I will repeat that forever. It doesn't count. Like, I need to know how and the reason and result. And you don't have it. So you need to completely redo your entire resume, use this formatting, make it look like this, and then, again, about the visa, I don't know, but you do want to make sure that people are aware of how they can work with your visa. So that is one of the few times you would, in fact, want a summary. But that's all I can do for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out. Hit the bell. And, let me know your job search stories below. I always want to hear what people are going through. And I know it's rough out there. So, and if you need more help, join my Twitch chat at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST. And I will see you all in the next video to help you get ahead of your job search.